custom officer no. What you 40 million? And yet you be here no. Me see the be a make do court to be ano. Me wona na me bra for.
E di ka mu tie we ni kwasa mo say twa han chance for Ghana again. Na so so plan for na mo say yanka senti one mo de agu yanka kra. Udu osa be twa another extra charges. And no kwa ba.
So you want to ask questions now?
This is men and fast. One, Argentina. Emmanuel said by force, necessary young agent and son. Say my import BB every America and Ghana so Abaha. I didn't buy it. It may go to and me farm again. Argentina Ghana day and do what as a say agent baby. Now when my son I want to make in Yamano. Number two, ebi musuka say Togo ye free port inti from Yamafaho cheaper impatre nokwere na medasi.
Okay, lances once a mile declare ye be na ye ya wahai enemy. Question indican. Adeda duties are ituya cars. Yamfa MCO website na mebama website meaning say talker engine capacity 1.2 meaning say tuya 200 euros and to me I'm winning now then if possible come in a card that tuya me buy a car I already me to me am far e nya say can HE can obi ba ko yama
it has to be. After we started, my chair just said, Emmanuel Ohene said, who as an individual to you, but it is such that you need to have a license to be able to clear as an individual. You can apply for that. Again, I also said that depending on the threshold of NEMA awarded, you can clear them without the use of an agent. Until we have in the system something we call the simplified goods declaration. So those are the airports and at the frontiers. When your items get in and the threshold is less than what I have explained, you are in a position to clear, firstly a friend of head load, and then just say, okay, you are in a position to clear your items without the services of an agent. It is dependent on the threshold of the item, value of the items and the weight for the airports. You are in a position to clear your items yourself. Again, for self-declarance, you need to be licensed. Now, all of these things are controls that are put in place by the government to enable traceability. Because you have instances where you are not a regular importer, you are just a one-time importer, and you brought in things, and somehow you've been able to beat the system, and you have absconded. Somebody should be held responsible. And the freight forwarders are licensed to be intermediaries between customs and the trading public. Again, the intention of government is also to encourage people to have work to do. That is why the services of freight forwarders are essential in clearing of items. So going to the second, just we have an opportunity. Going to the second question, the issue about free port from Togo. Let me assure you that it is all a matter of misinformation. Every item you bring through Togo, you have what you call admission temporaire. Temporary admission means that the item is not going to be consumed finally in Togo. And so if it is not going to be consumed finally in Togo, the Togolese authorities will not request you to pay duties on them. It is the same practice we have in Ghana. If the final destination of the items is not going to end in Ghana. The government of Ghana will not request you to pay duties. So it is no consumption, no duty. With the issue of the ports of Togo, you realize that because of this misinformation, a lot of Ghanaians bring in vehicles or goods through the port of Togo and expect that when the goods arrive at Aflao, they will pay less duty. The value for a vehicle in Accra is the same value for a vehicle in Kulungu. The same value for a vehicle in Aflao is the same value for a vehicle in Tinjasi, the same value for a vehicle in Maniseku. So the duties at the frontiers are no different from what pertains at the ports of Tema and Tabali. What inevitably happens is that most of the vehicles that are coming through Togo are smuggled in through unapproved routes. And so when they get into Ghana, because they have not paid duties, some of them sell the cars for little to nothing. And then they try and register them fictitiously through connivance at some of the regulatory authorities. But it is actually becoming very, very unattractive now because the DVLA now is equally automated and they are 100% integrated with the icons now. When you smuggle a vehicle in through the unapproved routes and it is intercepted, not only are you made to pay the duties, you're also liable to pay a penalty of 300% of the duties that you try to evade. So the perception that Togo is cheap, I'm sorry, if you try it and you are caught, the consequences will be very unfortunate. Now, you asked about how do we obtain licenses. The new system we have introduced has given all the other stakeholders an opportunity to have portals through which one can apply for licenses, permits, and certificates. And so, once you access the system, which I was going to show you anyway, you should be able to do this. And then the question by the Reverend Minister was asked on how do we determine duties on vehicles and are they available online? I was going to show you the slides as well. Now it is very possible. We have what you call a duty calculator in the Integrated Customs Management System, which enables you to assess the taxes that are to be paid on your goods just by putting in some information. You can know how much you're going to pay. You have a very close estimate of how much you're going to pay. This applies to the vehicles as well. We have what you call a vehicle duty calculator in the system. What that duty calculator has is that it has a database of similar cars that you have been collated over a period of time. So if you are bringing in the Toyota Corolla 2018 model LE, we have records of so many of them that have already been imported into the country. And once you access that, some information that, the system will ask you for, you are able to know you are able to have an approximate amount of duty you will pay. This is available and it is free of charge. It is available, it is free of charge, and it is working. Again, you asked about the use of cards. In fact, it started with the introduction of the paperless system. Before then, we had only 2 participating banks that were collecting duties. It was the Ghana Commercial Bank and the EcoBank, not Prudential, EcoBank. Today, we have not only more than 20 banks, we have 24 participating banks. We have access to use your credit card in the comfort of your home to make payment of duty. You have access to use mobile money, *222# to make payment of duty. And you have a dedicated platform known as a Ghana.gov platform to access and to pay duties. And so you can pay duty anywhere in the world without coming to Ghana. And that is a plus for those of you who are in the diaspora, because you do not need to come to Ghana even to have an idea of how much duty you have to pay. The new system is such that once you register with your team, the tax bill, that is the amount that is determined that you have to pay, is made available to you. So your agent does not even need to tell you how much you need to pay. By going through by just registering on the icons, you can have the tax bill to know exactly how much you have to pay. And you don't need to be in Ghana to make the payment. So these are some of the innovations that have recently been introduced with the introduction of the icons. So I hope I answered those questions.
Someone's hand was here, US or any other country, it comes here through the post. You get a letter from the post office, or then you go there, you pay a little bit of duty on it, and then you take your goods away. That's what she was explaining. You don't need an agent to go to an agent to. So that's the system that.
But you don't need an agent to clear your items from the post office as well. Yeah, and property. If the requirements are not met for those cables, we endanger the people whose lives are at stake. And let me let you know that customs is not only responsible for collection of duties, we are responsible for public health and safety. So you cannot get up tomorrow morning and import a weapon into the country. We have what you call prohibited items, and you have what you call restricted items. So for every restricted item, if you don't have the appropriate license, permit, or certificate, you cannot bring them into the country.
You also said
take these two down.
Abagana, Obubo Nyoma, look as health insurance tax. Na car media Abagana, na health insurance tax. Ekutia Kamo, Unjin dise, and then Nama duties because
so my problem is, why are we shipping goods in container? Okay, we know Tata is, they say it's free duty. Okay, you ship things in container, and the custom, they will work the duty, and then they will ask you to pay shipping container release 2 times, and then they will now add the container release money to your shipping, even marking. Okay. Bringing the goods out of the container and marking, you have to pay. Okay. You bring the goods out of the container, the person coming to mark, he has to pay. I'm telling you reality. Bringing because it's in container. So when they are bringing the tractor, the one coming to mark all the tractors with the chassis number, you have to pay. Even the one coming to break the container lock, you have to pay. The one coming to clean the container, then they'll come and tell you that you have to go and pay this and this and that. Before your container will get to the even outing, you see national security is there. You don't know where I say national security. They are coming to expect. Yeah, my question is about the cost that we are paying. Like, how should you pay your duty?
Mr. Ohene, welcome. Through your presentation, you said when you bring a new car, you have to provide the manufacturer invoice, the price. This is where, here in Europe, you bought your car brand new. You've used it for about 4 years, you want to bring it home for 5 years. You talk something about depreciation. Okay, I bought it 25,000 euro. Now the car is 5 years, I want to bring it home. And then you are talking about 50% off because it's now 5 years. How do the JRA calculate the value of the car 50%? They will tell you maybe in Ghana, when I bought the car myself 25, when you reach Ghana, they will assess it also with the 50%. They will tell you maybe it's 25,000. You don't know how they calculate it, and then you pay very high duty on the car. That has discouraged most of us in the diaspora to send cars home.
Please bring them.
We discouraged most of us. Those days, like the gentleman was saying, we used to send cars. When you go to Ghana, you see Okada, people are dying, and the taxis are home. Old cars. And then we in the diaspora, despite our our money to Ghana, to our parents. The government is making billions from the diaspora. I think in Africa we are the topping 2, sending money to Ghana. Nigeria is number 1. So I think the government has to do something for us in the diaspora to be able to send things to Ghana. The second is, in the diaspora, I see my old school. They don't have computers. I see my hometown, the hospitals. They don't have hospital beds. And then I log in my company. When I see old computers being thrown away, I asked my boss. He said, "Okay, you can take the 50 pieces of computers to Ghana, and then you send these computers to Ghana to your school. You have to pay duty. The ambassador is here. If the ambassador can do something about us, so that we can actually send things through the embassy to Ghana, other countries they do it. I see friends of mine from Burundi or Kenya, they take it and then they ship it. But I'm a Ghanaian and I can't do that. It's very bad."
From the interaction, I see that we are very passionate about some of these things, and it's good that we're having this engagement. I mentioned that there are several rates of taxes that are applicable for every item. When I was speaking about these, I said we have different rates of taxes. Let me inform you first and now that customs does not, and I say it again, customs does not determine taxes that are payable in Ghana. It's the sole responsibility and prerogative of Parliament. The people we elect to Parliament make those decisions on our behalf. So let me establish that. Let me establish that first and foremost. We are an implementing government agency. Every single tax is determined by Parliament. So let's establish that as we continue. So every rate of tax that is applicable on any item is determined by Parliament and not customs. Let's go on. So with the issue of container and tractors, our brother Paul has mentioned a lot of things. Let us bear in mind that you do not have only customs as a player as the board. He has attested to the fact that tractors are free of duty. But the shipping lines, you have an obligation to pay your shipping line charges to them. It does not go to customs. It does not go to the government of Ghana. Let's even establish that. You have container release. It does not go to the Ghana government. There are agencies that are performing duties that have been approved by the government to do so. Because even in this country, what's his name? JC inquired about how you can clear your items. And I told you that we have a threshold. And at the postal services, if you go and clear your items at the post office, there is no shipping line at the post office to ask you to pay shipping line charges. So those charges have nothing to do with customs. I am sorry, but they have absolutely nothing to do with customs. If you talk about opening of a container, it is done by the port authorities and not by customs. I have a freight forwarder in our midst here who practices in Ghana. So when the opportunity prevails, I'll give you an opportunity to explain to you what happens, so that you see the end result is that we are the face of the port. And so everything is brought to our doorstep. But that is the truth. The issue about national security, when we were starting the paperless in 2017, it was determined that the agencies responsible for examination will be A, B, C, and D. And then issues of national security importance came in. People have been intercepted carrying firearms into the country. People have been intercepted carrying drugs into the country. And so the government determined that let's keep them there for some time. But as we speak with you, I think from the 1st of March, they have been taken away from the port. So you do not have national... Yes, this year. This year. I'm saying this year from 1st of March.
And the reason why I ask you sometimes they don't ask for 5.
I am saying, I am saying that this year, from the 1st of March, the national security is no longer functioning at the port. I say this on authority.
Tractor cannot carry firearm.
It doesn't matter, Alaji, your business might be legitimate, but not everybody is doing what you are doing. So please, we will not, compromise on issues of national security, excuse me, because of one person's business. So let us understand that national security is no longer active at the port. And I say this on authority because
from this year?
Yes, I think, yes, from March. I say this on authority because I am part of the decision making in the GRA. Again, you asked about the vehicle depreciation. And I explained to you that we have respective rates for depreciating values. One of the canons of taxation is equity. If your car was given to you as a gift for free, and I bought mine, and he bought his, and she bought hers, and we get to the port, and say yours was free, so you should take it away for free. Are we being fair? Let's be honest with ourselves. I'm coming. Are we being fair? I'll get to the charitable ones. Are we being fair? So, in taxes, we ensure that we create a level playing field for everybody. That is why we use what you call the home delivery value. And I said the home delivery is what you call a manufacturer's suggested retail price. So if you bought a car in 2017, okay, it is easy for us to access how much Volvo sells the XC60 in 2017 for $25,000 or 45,000 euros. That is what will be used as a basis for everybody whose car falls within the exact description, cubic capacity, age of that vehicle. So you will not be given a different value. Neither will I be given. Yesterday in one of the discussions, I explained that every car is unique, just like a human being. Every vehicle has what you call a chassis number, a vehicle identification number. No two chassis numbers are the same. It is impossible unless there is some forgery going on. No two chassis numbers are the same. And every chassis number has embedded in it information that is only knowledgeable to the person who knows it. So you have a Toyota Camry. You say it's 2016. King Solomon has a Toyota Camry 2016. There is no description at the back of the car. So you think that you and King Solomon have the same car. In the chassis number we look, we can tell you that this is XLE, this is LE, or this is CE. And the manufacturers give unique values to those small characteristics that I have mentioned. Do you understand? So they will not be the same. But because of uniformity, we will use what we know Toyota gave as a value for the Camry of 2016. And if it's a 2016 model, it means that the car is already more than 5 years old. It will be depreciated by what? 50% to arrive at the cost. Then the insurance, which I told you is by law being predetermined. For a 2016 Camry, you would have insurance of $960. And then if you add the two, you work on the insurance, which is 0.875 of the cost and the freight. So it is not something that is, done, Frenchman will say, par hasard. We don't do that. It is something that has already been determined in our statute books. Now, getting back to the charitable item, I'll give you two stories. I used to have a friend who lived in England, and I'm sure all of you, or some of you must have heard of Oxfam. Oxfam is a charitable, institution. Yes. And this gentleman, in the early 90s, he used to import a lot of used clothing into the country under the auspices of Oxfam. And all of it, we later found out, was sold in Cantamanto.
But you can make a...
Madam, let me finish. Madam, let me finish. They were all sold in Cantamanto. We have people who bring shoes, they bring bicycles, they bring them all under the auspices of charity. and all these things end up being sold. The government is not saying that it will not allow you to bring things in for charitable purposes. So the avenue has been created. If you are bringing anything into the country, you have to route it through the appropriate ministry. If you are bringing in educational or health items for donation, you have to route it through the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Health. They will apply on your behalf to confirm that indeed what you are bringing in is for the intended purpose and not to be diverted. So it is not as if it is not as if it does not exist at all. We also inform all of us that there is only one institution that permits exemptions in Ghana, and that is Parliament. That is how powerful they are. Yes, that is how powerful they are. So what I want you to know is that every item that is to be exempted in the country can only be exempted by Parliament.
That is a government in power.
It's not a government in power. It is a statutory regulation from 1992 up to now. So until we inform our parliamentarians to sit down to take those decisions to change them, I'm sorry, the ambassador cannot do anything about it. Because the power to do so does not lie within her. Not even the president can change those laws.
Okay, so this transit goods, yeah, duties. Now, I'm going to make sure say transit goods, you know, and kakumo, and cow, because meaning say you transit goods. Now, I'm going to duty. Now, I'm going to enu wakra naka ukum achimayi. Mwe kwa beso na mfaso secure say. Bebacho I wait there and question wait there clarification. Kwa be na mfaso we the question the question is say I think na simplified goods. Mo kan wa say say mo fail for my way simplified goods within say container we ship. Custom for on no we man. Omo hwa say man we dey tintin we tintin we container. You did issue. You didn't know. My friends are asking so Emmanuel Basa. Manuel.
That's. The part of the question I can say. Most of my name is husband yet the name of Kogan. Now my problem kakra pots and say. Normally we do near more blue okay say you might be need agent. Fine. Now agents now over fan. The problem kakra want to say. Say through time of examination, agent never can say or call officer. I can't be over because we need quite already agent nature call officer. Yana Kamiya, Yana wait, but it's not allowed. But agent no bar, as also knew what is going on there. Also, who the over car super bizarre. But at the end of the day, no, officer never by examination. Officer never no by examination now. So far as only who are contained and your part, the story change. The story no a change. And here now confused me say, are you going to talk to the officer? And I say who agent and you mama no why? Now you two things. Who knew issue an officer no kind? So officer never can see will be our mamma examination you are. Ebi a mamma Fakakra say Brani and Quadin a normal, a Juma in Mono. Fine, it's in every day. Maybe no man says only Pani Juma man why in the way. So near, no problem. But as agent for me, I see them say they are more cheated than the officers. They cheated the officers because we knew their course war. It was a fair problem. Officer, also, I will yes, only a man who now you as if say no in fact me ma ko order now I ask them can you people please do away with the agents and then do your work for us, you will be happy. And I say on agent for what to talk more country am say no this ship I near man buy no on office at least for officer to explain to the shipper no the buy near man buy say this is this and this is this now you have clear idea be say say na yede e kon na fe yan so e bibia na emu send e be but transit
is a very important international trade. Every customs administration in the world is under obligation to allow your national corridor to be used to transit cargo. In fact, what is an important question because we've had several challenges. I am in charge of transit for the whole country. It is something that is close to my heart. We've had too many challenges with diversions. Yebeka Senemane Eko Burkina, Eko Elubo, Eko Togo. Now over excuse me, but the normal place it ends up is in Kumasi. I'm sorry, but that is the truth. What transit seeks to do is to ensure that those who are not Ghanaians, who come from the landlord countries, have an opportunity to ship to our ports and send them to their country. The government of Ghana does not make any money on transit. It is just a national obligation we owe to our neighbors. So we don't charge on transit goods. But 99.99% of transit that has been diverted are done by Ghanaians who live in Ghana and who are not foreigners, unfortunately. So at the end of the day, most of these challenges come to us. But in the new system, we have introduced a lot of measures. The first is that we have introduced the electronic bond system such that every transit cargo is bonded. In addition to that, we have tracking devices that are placed on them. As I speak with you, last week alone, we had 7 cars that have been diverted to a workshop in Kumasi, which we can sit in my office and look at the movement of the goods, which we were able to see because of the tracking devices. And so all of those ones have been picked up. You have cargo that was found in Committee 25, not near Aladis Hotel, that had been diverted to, it was supposed to be going to the north. They diverted. The tracking devices were able to tell us that once you leave the approved route, the system will let us know. There are other instances where goods are considered of very high value. In addition to the tracking devices, we provide human escorts so that we can ensure that we can follow it. There are even instances where they have actually gone to the frontier station, crossed and come back, and their fictitious documents. And because the new system is able to keep a data on the chassis number, there were 2 cars. One was Lexus 570, the other was Lexus 460. These are high-value vehicles. The importer actually gave the agent more than 500,000 cedis to clear these 2 vehicles for him. The agent went ahead to transit them to Burkina and brought them back in and tried to do wuru at the Panda border. But because the system had already taken details of the car, we were able to stop it. So we have made a lot of strides in ensuring that we can reduce the incidence of diversion for transit. It's not a very easy thing because we have quite a few constraints, but under the circumstances, I think that we are doing the best that we can, and we are seeing results on a daily basis. In the event that we're able to determine that these goods have been diverted, we fall on the insurance company that we cannot account for these goods because you have a specified period of time through which you should transit the country, 14 days maximum. If you have not left, we fall on the insurance company. So that is it for the transit goods. The issue of the container for simplified goods declaration, I explained that the system we are operating now, if you come with an invoice and a packing list, your items automatically will fall under commercial goods. Please, do you understand me? And once you enter those details in the new management system, it will be able to determine what kind of treatment a good should be subjected to. So what you bring to us is how we determine what treatment your goods should be subjected to. No, unfortunately, those simplified goods mainly are the frontier stations. In Tema, you hardly have that. Airport, yes, because arriving passengers can always have some items that are in commercial quantity, not up to the threshold. So those ones, you don't need an agent to do that. And then the question about the agents and the importers. I believe that every importer should be able to ask questions and seek verification. I explained earlier that in the new system, we didn't get there because of time. In the new system now, you can access how much duty you are to pay as an importer and not as an agent. We will leave the particulars here. You should be able to access through the ICONS portal that these items I have brought, this is the tax bill government has presented to me.
You will need a TIN number.
Your TIN number?
Yeah, but TIN number, you can only have a TIN number when you are a company.
No. Every individual has a TIN. A TIN is not restricted. Yes, you can use your Ghana card on your TIN. A TIN is not restricted to a company.
Yeah, but those who don't have Ghana card.
Those who do not have Ghana card and do not have a TIN, if you do not have a Ghana card, you do not have a TIN, you can still import into the country. By declaring your items through your agency. That is why we told you that it is important that you understand the role of the agent. The truth of the matter is that not all agents are thieves. Not all agents are fraudulent. You have used Tesco for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, and you cannot tell me that the late Mr. Kwashi's people were criminals.
They are not.
So not all agents are thieves. Not all agents are bad people. We have mentions in every home. And let me tell you the truth, which most of you don't want to hear. Almost 90% of the time, an agent will do the wrong thing when it's prompted by the importers. I'm telling you the truth. I have worked for a time long enough to know that almost at any instance, for an agent to do the wrong thing, it is the importer who asks you to do it.
Yeah, it's true.
So let's not shy away from the truth. But this evening, I came to you with a list of agents of good standing that I would like to leave their names and their addresses with you, so that when you want to import anything into the country, at least you can go through their profiles. If you see, most often we do not want to make use of information that's available to us. Sometimes your friend will come, oh, this person is good. You won't even check the person's background. Maybe your friend and that person have some relationship you don't know. We don't check the background. And when you go to the port and your agent wants to go and see the custom officer, there is no law forbidding you from following him. What I want to say is that I'm going to leave you with a list of agents in good standing.
That's
so
why
that
I want to come in.
So that when you have that list, you can have an idea of who you want to deal with.
That's why I want.
Now, can you say, what you meet now with them, a duty. Every 4 months, we are in a container for Ghana. So, computer email said 150, say 200 million. Now, computer, I say, duty now. But, Ube Vienna, Ube GSS cannot be through Honor. Now, Obi Jibi. Agent na ka to say bia meji 200 etu de ka o container no a wayi no ho a me fa na say 350 and 400 match ya custom ni bi ya match eye me ya besine match mi bi bia wie a mi bia bontene wase ebe yi container no ye be yi mu niema na so mu niema ne dia ha me pati ye hihya ye yi a ye ntimi answer she no say because me share bi da achimota yeah yimi ni amagu ho e ma ka makunwa miensa ye di gusuro edru ho no eyi nyame kwa nka bikum nipa nyame kwa obi ti moto so enka bo no enti yesu edru ya na hu bi wo ye mu se omo yi niama na ye ti mi hihya pepepe mi say me fa bibi anhye ba ye dru ho no ma ye ntimi ni share pepepe ma ne amene san kom no etia na ye ka se be yi ane ha no enu nti na ya na yesere ba agent no ye bibi ye custom officer no what me 40 million and ye chia bibi awie no me see the bia me ko do court obi ano me huna na me bra for the team because I do my ye me ba cho minimum no me bia na do number yeah
oh say Ghana for bibia e wo volunteer person assembly ba ye be gidi hu dede e ka say mo find information by em from me wasem or Chinese meeting. And it has never helped us as in before, because I cannot punish somebody or deal with somebody I don't have any information on this. But Mr. Kasabincho, about 3-4 months ago, Obi in the airport, and an agent friend me said, "Oh, send a person. Officer, they say, or generate X amount." I'm sure for the man, many officers in Nasa. Them be officer. If you cry, you won't if you got the one less sensitive cases. If we have information, because I can tell you, human area though, you are in the angels. Neither are you the importance angels. So it is always you and us who play and create all the problems. But if you are ready to stand up and tell us that so let this officer be brought to you. A lot of officers have had problems because of some of these things. Extortion. The law is clear against extortion. And you can only help us to weed out some of these wrong elements if you give us information. If you don't give us information, excuse me, we are not angels. And so it creates all this problem for all of us. So anytime we walk any such challenge, ask to speak with the person's boss.
And I say yeah ni and you know timidi at the end you need and I add because me brother be what baby bear 5 years 6 years onya number so betimi agla and easy. But here can be a now one of the Yasram Madame Roma. Some of them why am I yabi? Near to me up anymore. Before said, and you won't see yourself will be a my dear but I did be over, won't consider a crack. Now you who made the man when what you have more than 300, what you have 400. Second, and maybe I did wrote on 1 euro. But the true guy, and I better than they know my young chili. And to whatever man is now. What your cost company or yes, no wire. Now you're much she because that year. That's
Okay, I have a last question.
Let me try and answer. We have call centers, we have customer desks, and you don't even need to talk to me. That is not to say that you're accessible, because some of us, excuse me, there's no way you call us and introduce yourself or you leave a message, we will not return to you. If we cannot assist you, we will direct you to the appropriate office. Amucho, there is a new wind of change in Ghana, especially in places like the GRA. Nema and I, we used to do 20-25 years ago. Today, we see every importer as a partner in trade and not as a smuggler. We have not reached the place where we admit that we have officers who have not caught up with us, but we are carrying them along. So anytime you have any challenge, there are so many channels through which you can seek redress. At the port, there is an office. There is a hotline. Even on our www platform, you can send your information.
What I want to ask is, when the government introduced the paperless, paperless. I think my last shipment was just this year. this year, February, January. I was there in Ghana before I came with my son. The paperless, as we know it, we know it to be like your agent. I have the agent. I don't go to the harbor. The agent just calculate everything. I give him the money. He go and pay, and then so the paperless was not going to one officer to second officer to pay bribe before he can sign on all this. You know, that's why it was going on. So the paperless is just you work the duty. If the duty, the agent will work the duty, forward it, and then they'll send what he has to pay, and you give the agent the money. You pay through the bank, and it will reflect at the wrong room. So immediately you go to the wrong room, your duty. But do you know what? We still have problem with that with the imported, because you go, your agent will tell you that he has paid, he has forwarded, and now he went there. They say it hasn't reflected. It hasn't reflected on the computer. The computer is having problem and blah blah, and so he has to go and the same thing like they want to cancel before. No, it's still going on. He has to go and put something on that before. So that's why I want to, since you are here, I want to know how is those things is going to stop.
Uncle Paul, let me say, any payment,
it
goes to the Ghana.gov platform.
Yeah.
It does not even go to the bank for the bank to tell you have to print ABC. If you make the payment at the bank, immediately you make the payment at the bank, the money is transferred to the Ghana.gov platform.
Yeah.
So it is important that you are educated on this.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing absolutely that there is no reflection on it.
Yeah. But why did they ask us?
No, I cannot speak for the agent. But I am telling you, there is no such thing as to pay. Because if you pay with your credit card here in Holland, Belgium here, which agent are you going to ask for him to show you that it is not reflected? You will see it. Because immediately you make the payment, it will show at your front end from the customs system that you have made the payment.
Yeah, it shows, but
yes.
You go there, the customs officer will tell you.
And I am telling you, it is not an issue of going to any customs officer, because you don't go to any customs officer to make a payment.
No, you pay, but the agent will go there and they'll tell you that it hasn't.
I will not want us to argue on that.
Okay. Pay online and what have you. You said it. Now I wanted to ask another opportunity. We'll see. Based on the values of a normal on the app, and I'm charging. Normally, you find gratis, you find free. And you know, the custom officer they will insist, say, you be a patch 1 second engineer because at the end of the free, we need value the others. And the boss and I'm not one will determine because I'm more custom for the big determine. So I hold and a big problem no, my in your man. And the normally over I told you cheap, you told €1. Me car matter no be say me top free papa is 300 euros, but car no value come a year na 30,000 euros, but when you soon 9 years me better of a year 300 euros or now almost 50% of 30,000 or a year man. Now me return 300 that na no value my
Can I make a trade say may explain me catch us one of the canons of taxation. One of the canons of taxation is equity. Maybe Sir says a car, 1,300, what was the amount for free? What happens? We still have to determine the value. So that there is fairness, we will not use your 300 and use somebody who bought it for 3,000. It's for us to have a level playing field. If the car was given to you for free, if the goods were given to you for free, like you have charitable items, because we want to ensure that everybody on the same platform, we use the value that everybody is supposed to be used to apply for assessment purposes. So it's not as if it is a 300. You could have seen the car by the roadside. I saw a car in America. They were going to scrap it, and I bought it for $25 because it was in a truck that was going to scrap it. I got it for $25. When I went to, I paid the duty not on $25. I paid the duty based on the manufacturer's suggested retail price, so that everybody is on the level.
Solicit your problem. Chief Patolamo Kasana, this also Patol Aka, some few minutes now.
It was a very good platform to talk on it. Let's start from the Alaji. Chief, I salute you.
Yes, sir.
For question, then yes, duty now cost of it's based on exchange rate. And I'm not duty no. But when it's over courts and not possible. Government to duty no way. But because of say, it's a kind of duty no. Over courts now I caught a pejanic. And because the government actually is about 2 million. And during that time, now one CD $1 now. Not gonna force the party. Because boss not using that for they are tossing me, but who said we should do every answer? We couldn't do it, and it was mean 300 million. I don't know some training chairman, I'm saying chairman, I government did 300 million. Duty now, we are 300 million, duty and that's not 300 million, maybe I may find 20,000, what's it 20 million? We bet you our shipping line, we bet you our Gapua charge, Gapua is the other point when you see it. A whole rent, no more charge, you say chia. Shipping line here. The offer you may bedroom buy or sit you at handling charges. And the question person will move some handling charges in here, who will be an afraid enough so in your from end to end. And you can move to you because I will say handling charges organic again. Now, the second I will say and Cassenti, one of the we and crack, who do a subject to another extra charges. And I don't quite buy a consequent line will be what you don't pay. From freight, and was I'm working this country for Ghana, I will be uncountry. Some question will be beside will be BRBC and all other countries will move here. And on that check. And the government, and that's a duty of ordinary. I don't know, 20%, 10% now will charge in a ban of honor. There can be other stakeholders now there. Bobby so because we could put you at 300 million, we could see 40 million. Now, press the government, now this is Kakasiano. They are my duty same now. I can watch them because they see this kind of week. Since can we do and can duty is coming and can you who is Akaka? They are tossing me and some like says, our system on the Abba, I want to. But I have a moment, and yet my young me is from London TV, and I'm with the Port Ghana. And one of the best systems so far, no more Ghana. And then the couple of Ghana customs abasha. Maybe office, since the system we buy, me trade duty move here. The main important as a trade duty. Oh yeah, no matter what I say, what task doing here? Oko bank, Oko bank, and Roku and ask which are up on the swap with your duty. Because this requires express agent for. I feel no good trade duty, this can even go sugar up worker. And the office in trade duty move here. And no example forecast agent no officer or there's no way just a minute in the now. Officer no, he's there to help you. And to call out church was a much now about one or the year then after the year, but name of the year. Sabi, Cobia means on the few means of your can say, what important now, but I said, oh, fellows are we guilty that. And to a particular was made and again, no good you are some year then. In the end, so quiet, said the over lawyer, so Janica. And you also call. Then you're sure you're looking at a class and all the countries, yeah, you're saying it too, maybe I one. Because I want to year I come by. And to say, the can you fear who are important, also look at our invoice, look at BBR, atomize, why BBR, officer, on one hand, on manage my simple amount. The office, before you be officer now, only invoice, only shame. And your mother was a personal effect. Grocery will be there will biscuits, there will be low. And you cannot play a man. And take it not to what I said, we now was system. I hear you, man. Oh, yeah. Not the conference and all. And most of what important like Casano, what kind of brain can no grandma going to know? I feel like Bob say as Bobby, I want to make it to so. Because what I say the care about Corona. When you start the buyer, no, now for so you a of maybe 50,000. And now here, Council Ghana government will be 20. And the agent in Agasa for 10 to swap, won't mean challenge. Because what I say the care about Corona. And the amount of credit a year to man. And the image now of things that I can figure out. Sister, we do carry something 6 hours, 4 hours, we could go to that. It took 2 hours, 1 second. Probably any more MPS, almost carry. And then maybe some madam in your mind. Yeah, continue getting to go home. There were systems, there were pasture, there was stopping. I am rare, Ghana customs, I have to. And you want to fall into red, I just said, red, you need to have it came to me, I want to read it. Say we are going to continue say I go continue I don't know yet my buyers for the customer. What falling into bread? They are not falling into green. We just see track with a scan of that day. Apple. We are right, what to buy. We don't share any. And consider as I said, Sabi, agent for the kind make a hobby. If you be a person, but we need to come out from the beginning. We do more. Or to train people pay for the guy. But we are catching say, contain never. If you are sabi, car vision. Na me person me tia. Na for one person say no, so more so you must carry them. If you into manual. The Bahrain, we see between the car duties. Because they say, Uber travel up and a move office you were hard in Europe, I look at office and as I say, online. A portal.
If you access that portal, Ghana.gov portal.
You pay the duty here, Ghana.
Yeah, for a friend saying Ghana, no, you have access for the Ghana.gov platform dedicated for Ghana and a mobile money. But the credit card, you only use it in foreign. Into the payment overseas, and yet portals, you can use the overseas payment. But I was going to show you what I will do is I will leave the presentation, the portion that I thought was very relevant on payment, on tracking your cargo. You can sit in the comfort of your home and track your cargo, know exactly where it is, where the vessel has reached, even know exactly which officer is working on it from point A to point B to point C. I was going to show us, but we don't have last question and then
with the export to import and because in down but my brother I can be said that's allowed in terms of what or some say this go I dream to 22 times shipping line. You dream in your bag as well, it's actually other countries in Yansa. It's again I'm going to my house.
And yet, cost of
shipping line. My shipping line. Now, how can we contact the shipping lines?
Maybe I was okay.
Sorry.
I'm responsible for the administration of the activities of all the shippers and the shipping lines. It is more our website. You can access the Ghana Shippers Authority and register your complaints. Make sure you can was agents and shipping lines and the agents are fighting hard to represent and protect the interests of the shipping community, the traders. Nukra said the shipping lines are multinationals, and some of their regulations and their rules, they create them in the international atmosphere.
And the question about double payment to the shipping line. Hansen was saying something because the problem is, hello, when we received, you have a client who comes in for a booking. What we do is we automatically assume that the shipping line's cost at port of destination will be paid at the port of destination. For example, if you are shipping a container from Antwerp to Tema, we assume that the terminal handling cost at Tema will be paid to the shipping agent at the port of Tema. Okay. Now, it depends on the client. If the client wants to pay the terminal handling charges, the shipping line charges at in Ghana, here in Belgium, we can, during the booking, we can program this to pay the cost here, so that in Ghana they don't need to do any double payment. But what we do automatically here is that we assume the cost at the port of loading will be paid to the agent at the port of loading, for example, at Tema. So we automatically only charge the terminal handling charges at port of loading, that's from the port of Antwerp to Tema, and then the freight. But the other terminal handling charges at Tema,
if the client informs us that he wants to pay it here in Europe, then we will pay, we will also include this processes. So that is the situation. There is no double payment that the shipping line is going to charge you. You pay the terminal handling charges here in Europe, and then you go and pay also again in terminal. It depends on the booking processing. How we process the booking will determine if you have to pay a terminal or not. So this is a little bit of clarification. So if you want to pay in Europe, you just inform the shipping agent, I want to pay everything in Europe, including the terminal handling charges in terminal. Yeah.
Aha, utadie na ose ode kwa outside. So the way I want to move on there the fragment no. Edika edu TV wa hase. So she kwa dem na ko wia. Na say shippers no stamp ode comment no so a ode ba na e say e ko enti VAT no. The one they no. It is a muslim baby this a cast na ko okina na ade no. Wọ́n ti ada positive into all. Nti mo di cross na yẹn mu no sẹ ampa ẹkọ a.
Your friend of Bachelor, a suggestion there, it is something that has been initiated. It's called the first port rule. Now, what is happening is that those countries are never called. They will request that you pay the duties in Ghana on their behalf, so that when your goods get there, you're not going to pay the duty again. But you see, those duties are not being paid to the government of Ghana. They are being paid to the destination country. But the issue of TVA, VAT, you know, and also what they want Ghana. Now we export, now we have VAT, you know. Now, what they say is not going to be consumed in Ghana again. That possibility of the VAT refund is there.
Yeah, but
it exists, but it's not for transit.
Let me say, in a form, say yeah, if you are to TV, I'm going to Ghana, who mountain to VAT for a now the cover, another family is coming. Come on, system, you said you have it already. Yes, we have. We say, okay, and can back on my and can give me 100 million. Then you pay the 100 million. Near the apple. It would go from now the paper by stress, and your man could do Burkina Faso. Then you release the 100 million to them. But I don't know. Almost a Ghana there, because it's actually a work in progress. It's dependent on not only the Ghana government, but the other governments. We've had several meetings and we should attend.
Maybe get the other matters. The working in the Messi can ever on my Ghana. Make high and maybe a cream. A catastrophe share any project that will come your penny for the pre. That was 1979. I was involved. But the same we had near me of Ghana and I know my community. Some for that getting to the true, you couldn't depart. After you want security agencies, war man. And dear, a facade. You knew I am a silver fever, but me better so to be a man that I will be close to. Now, me probably I am one. There is 17 Tennis and now come once. And you might be pre-over songs. I am cake. The T-72 you are by a crowd call. And you might be pre-over Texas and why am I? Into my own particular parliament to our elbow. And you take a woman, and why they are bread. But you make part to walk of Ghana before. You see, you're suggesting, you're suggesting. No one catch a young man, say, young man, oh, I'm a inky bomb, I'm a before empty. You're playing with your fear by your slow. Master, with us, come up by. Now, by some former parliamentarians. Miss Ohene, you pass us in because the person crying, I'm going to transfer. The woman now, in the movie, yes.